In the last class, we studied about what do you mean by exception. So exception means it's an unwanted condition which we will encounter in Java. So when we are trying to run a program, so some unwanted conditions will happen. So this is common in the real-time applications. So when you're writing a program which will solve the real-world problems, so you will encounter some unwanted cases. So that you would have not mm, thought about when designing a program. So when you implement that in the real world, you will find that. So these kind of exceptions are common in programming languages. So like that in Java also, there we have Java has designed few ways in which you can make a program to run normally when certain event occurs. See, for example, some examples can be like the bank account you don't have. See, you're trying to draw 10,000 when the balance in that account is only 5,000. So that is an exception case. So you cannot withdraw because the amount which you're trying to withdraw is more than the amount which is there in the uh, bank account. So 5,000 is there and we are trying to take 10,000. So that is not possible the same way. So the balance, if you take an example of some credit card, the balance will be see the balance available in the card will be like 5,000, but you're trying to shop something which is in the range of 15 to 20,000. So like this. So in this scenarios, the exceptions will occur. Um, or the maximum marks which can be scored in a subject is 100, but uh, when someone tries to see the maximum marks that can be awarded is only 100. So because the candidate will be writing for that much marks for a subject. So if someone tries to award 150 for that subject, so that is an unwanted condition. So the maximum is 100, you cannot give 150 like this. So Java also we have exceptions like this unwanted conditions. So we have a mechanism to handle this. So this is handled by using some keywords like try, catch, finally, throws, and throw. So these five are the exception handling fundamental things which are there in Java to handle them. So we have studied all these things with the help of examples also. With the help of examples also, we have studied all these things. How what is try, what is catch, what is finally. For one try, we used multiple catch statements. Then we nested within a one try block. We used another try block, so that we call it as the nested try block. Then we used throw to manually create our own exception. Then we used throws. Throws means for one's function. For function, we were using the throws keyword so that the caller of the function will be notified that the exception will occur and how we can handle that. Then all this only five, no, only, and then finally means whether the program runs normally or abnormally, the whatever is there inside the finally, whatever is there within the finally will be executed. Whatever code is there within the final will be executed. Now today we will be talking about the built-in exceptions. So see, all these exceptions are there. All the exceptions which we are checking, all the exceptions which we are seeing in Java, it is there in a package called, we have one package called java.lang package. So all the exceptions are there in this package. So you would have in the lab, you would have imported some packages like java.util.star. The same way, this is a default package which is there in Java. So we'll talk about this when we are talking, when we study about the concepts called packages in the upcoming modules. So we all the exceptions are there in a default package called java.lang. So this is a standard package. So inside the standard package, we have the exception class. We have a class. So Java built-in exception. So Java built-in exception class, it is there in this package called java.lang. So this package has several classes, several exception classes. Um, Already we have used those classes, like we have used arithmetic exception, we have used array index out of bound exception, we have used null pointer exception. So the most exception which we have studied till now is runtime exception. So runtime exception. So runtime exceptions. What are those runtime exceptions? Means like array index out of bound, null pointer exception, arithmetic exception. All these things will come under this runtime exception subclasses. So there is a class called runtime exception. So for that class, we have subclasses like array index out of bound subclass, arithmetic exception subclass, null pointer exception subclasses. So how it is designed means, so this we in the first class I wrote one example, like one diagram throwable. We have some error class, we have some exception class. So in this exception class, we have a subclass. For this exception class, we have one subclass called runtime exception. So under this runtime exception, we have subclasses like for arithmetic exception, one subclass, for null pointer exception, one subclass, for array index out of bound exception, one subclass. So these are the subclasses of runtime exception. Runtime exception is a subclass of exception class, and the exception is a subclass of throwable class, like this. So like this it is classified. So in Java, we have studied some exceptions which were under runtime exceptions. So so whatever till we have studied now, this runtime exception, it's like arithmetic exception, null pointer exception, array index bound of exception, they will come under the unchecked exception. So basically in Java, the exception can be classified into two things: checked exception, unchecked exception. So checked exception means the one that will be checked during the compilation time. For example, you are trying to read a data from a file, but that file is not there. So that is a checked exception, checked during compilation time. See, checked exception means it will be checked during compilation time. The one example is a file example. For example, you'll try to access a class, but that class is not there. So that is also that is also a checked exception. And you'll try to access a method inside a class. For example, there is a class called A. Inside that, you're trying to access a method called add method, but that method is not there within that class. So all these things will come under checked exception. The exceptions which will be checked during the compilation time, we will call it as a checked exception. So that uh, see the so that is the definition of checked exception. Unchecked exception means they are not checked during the compilation time. They will not be checked during the compilation time, but it will be caught during the runtime. See, when we are trying to run the exceptions like arithmetic exception, arithmetic exception, null pointer exception, array index out of bound exception, when I compiled the program, I did not get any error. I did not get any exception. Only when I started running the program, then I got the errors like arithmetic error, array index out of order. So that was during the runtime. So we have two categories: checked exception, unchecked exception. Checked exception means it will be checked during the compilation time. Unchecked exception means it will be it will not be checked during the compilation time. The checking will happen at the runtime. So these are the two categories. So these are the two categories of exceptions. These are the two categories of exception: checked exception, unchecked exception. So let us look at some uh, examples of checked exception and unchecked exception. So these are the unchecked exceptions. When you, com- when you compile the program, when you compile the program, you will not get any exceptions. So these exceptions will be caught during runtime itself. So some of the examples like arithmetic exception. Arithmetic exception is an unchecked exception. When you compile the program, you'll not get any exception. Array index out of bound. It is also an unchecked exception. Then what else we have studied? So if you try to create an array with negative size, so negative array size exception is also, see, all these are unchecked exception, but we have studied few things in this. Null pointer exception, if you try to access an invalid null reference. So all these are examples, all these are some subclasses of runtime exception. So here I wrote one diagram, no, under this runtime exception, we have some subclasses. All these are those subclasses. So for this runtime exception, these are the subclasses. These are the subclasses of this runtime exception, like arithmetic exception, array index out of bound exception, array store exception, class cast exception, illegal argument exception, illegal monitor state exception. So it is important to know at least five exceptions from each thing. From unchecked exception, you should know at least five subclasses. From checked exception also, you should know at least five classes. So all these things will not be using. You see, all these subclasses will not be using all the time. Only based on the application scenario you'll be using. So when something like if I want to check for something division by zero, I'll be using arithmetic exception. When I'm dealing with arrays, I'll be using array index out of bound exception and uh, negative array size exception. So something, if I want to refer something, so it doesn't point, it should not point to some invalid reference. So that time I'll be using null pointer exception. So like this, based on application you will be using. So these are some of the subclasses which will come under unchecked exception. So the meaning is given. So arithmetic exception will be used when there exists a scenario where you have to divide a number by where you have to divide a number by 0, array index for checking the limits of the array, then null pointer when you're trying to uh, make an invalid reference, and when you create an array with negative size, you will get the negative array size exception. Like this we have so many classes. So in this we'll be studying few things. So likewise, checked exception, so this will be checked during the runtime. So this checked exception will be seen during the runtime. For example, so if there is no, you are looking for a class but that class is not there, so during the compilation time you will get that exception. So if you get an exception like class not found exception, it is understood that you are looking for a class but that class is not available. Then uh, illegal access exception. So illegal access exception means for that access is not given. You are trying to access a class for which you are not given the permission. So for that for that you will get this illegal access exception. Sometimes like no such method exception. You are trying to call a method. So you are trying to call a function, but that function is not there. So you will get this exception. So these are the few exceptions. So you're trying to access a variable but that variable is not there, no such field exception. So these are some of the unchecked exceptions. So for some examples, like you are trying to read a data from a file but that the file is not there in the system, so you will get the checked exception. So mm, so like this you can remember, you're trying to access a method, you're trying to access a variable, but that is not there. So at that time the suitable exceptions you will get. um, so like this. And also this there is one instantiation exception. So where you're trying to create for an object for the abstract class, you know that for an abstract class you cannot create the object, so for that time you'll get the errors. So this will be checked during the compilation time itself. So this is regarding the checked exception. So we have two kinds: checked exception, unchecked exception, and some of the subclasses that are there for checked exception. Usually this will happen during the compilation time. So these exceptions will come under the runtime. So now they are the built-in thing. They are the built-in support which we are getting from the Java. So now I don't want the support from Java. I want to create my own exception. How do I create that? So I don't want any built-in support from the Java. I want to create my own exception. So how do I do that in Java? See, for example, you know that in C++ or in C, you have a function called sqrt. So it will give you the square root of a number. There is a function called power function. So it will give you the power of a number. So these are the inbuilt functions. Also, we have functions like string length, string cat. See, all these things, the functions which are given by the system itself. The system is giving itself. So if you use this library functions, if you write like this, square root of some 25, the output will be 5. the inbuilt function. So now you don't want that. Now you don't want, sir, I don't want to call the inbuilt function. I will write a code. I will write a code for calculating the square root of a number, like that. Or example, string length functions, or string length of some ABC. So string length of some ABC, this will give me the length of the string ABC. Sir, I don't want to use the inbuilt function, sir. I will write a logic for calculating the length of a string. So what you will do, while string of I is not equal to the null thing, then you will start counting letter by letter, and you will start incrementing. So that is the logic behind that. So here your logic is not important. What we are concerned is, we are concerned about the understanding. The same way, I don't want to use the Java's built-in exception. I want to write my own exceptions. So how do I write that? I will not use the Java's built-in exceptions like arithmetic exception, null pointer exception, array index out of bound exception. I don't want to use that. I want to create my own exception. So for that, all you need to do is, so you'll write a class. You'll write some class. Now this is a class definition. This is the class definition. So this class can contain variables. This class can contain methods. This class can contain constructor. So you just need to use this keyword, extends exception. So by writing these two words, you can create your own exception subclasses. Now this class A is similar to classes subclasses like arithmetic exception class. I'll just use the short form null pointer exception class, array index out of bound exception. Now it is like similar to that based on the functionality. So by using these two statements, now you can create your own exception, your own exception. So why you will create like this means, based on the necessity, based on the application time, based on the situation corresponding to your application, we will be using our own exception subclasses. So for a class, how to create our own exception subclasses means, you just need to extend that class with the keyword exception. That's also, this is how you can create. So even though we are having Java's built-in functions for handling most of the errors, so based on our applications, we should there will come a situation where we need to create our own exception type to handle specific scenarios based on the application. So how do I do that means, I just need to make this class as a subclass of exception class. So if I do this, then I need not implement anything. I need not implement anything, because um, all the methods. So once I extend this, the support for the exceptions will be available from a class called throwable class. Why? Because throwable class is a root class. Throwable class is being For throwable class, the subclasses, the exception class. For this exception class, you are making class A as a subclass. Now throwable is a root class or the super class. For this throwable class, exception is the subclass. For this exception subclass, A is my, for this exception class, A will be subclass. So by doing like this, so the A will get the methods that are there. The A will get the methods that are there in throwable class. So the A will get the methods that are there in throwable class, and those methods can be used to um, handle the exceptions. So because the exception class doesn't have any methods on its own, all the methods will be available, or all the methods will be provided by the throwable class. So we can have those methods which are there from the throwable class. So like we have some methods. So these are the methods that are there in throwable class. So we have some methods like get cause. We have some methods like get cause. We have some methods like get message, get cause, get message, then print stack print stack trace. We have methods like toString method. um, then we have methods like init cost. See, we have so many methods, so I'm just talking about five methods. So if you want to make your class as to have your own exception, you just use the keyword extends exception. That is, you just need to make your class a subclass of exception class. So that can be done by using the two words which I used, your class name extends exception. So if you do that, you will get the methods that are there in throwable class. For example, now your class A can use these methods. Now the class A can use the methods of throwable class. It can use the methods of throwable class. So we have some get cause method. So what is this get cause method means? It will return the exception which underlies the current exception. So it will give you the cause. It will give you the cause of exception. So what this get message will give you means, it will give you the description of the exception. It will return the description of the exception. This this init cause, what it will do means, um, so it will associate the exception. It will associate what is the cause of exception um, as the root cause of invoking exception. So you will pass a parameter there. So for that parameter, so what is the root cause of that exception? So that we'll see in the next topic. So then print stack trace means, it will give you the stack which I had told in the previous class. In the first session itself, I told that. So whenever the default exception handles, it will give you the stack trace using which you can find out the cause of exception. Then toString method will be um, it is like a println. So this is like a println statement where whatever you're passing the description, that will be returned in the string format. So it will return a string object which contains the description of the exception. So these are the methods. So this is how you can create. This is how you can create um, this is how you can create uh, and your own exception. So you, like this, you can create, or you can make your class to create the exception. So for this, we'll also study with the programming example. So first I'll just give you the theory behind this. Then after that, we will just implement the program for that. So for your class, if you want to make that class to create an exception means, you can use this uh, extends exception statement. So by using this statement, your class will become the subclass of the exception class, and then you can handle the exception. And we have some methods. So all this a class can contain the methods of throwable class. I've given some methods. So get cause method, get message, init cause, print stack trace, toString method. So this is how you can create your own exception classes. So for this, I will give you the programming example. First, I will explain the theory behind this. Once the theory behind this is done, so we will go with the programming thing. So next thing is chained exception. So we have one more extension to this, chained exception. So this we will call it as chained exception. So what is this chained exception means? It's a trivial example. So there is no internet in your house. There is no internet in your house because of something. So because of that, you are not able to attend the classes. So what we will think, you have not attended the classes. So that will be the primary exception. That will be the primary exception. You are not attended the class will be the primary exception. But the actual cause for not attending the class is non-availability of internet or non-availability of power. So like this. So that is the actual cause. But what we will think that you are not attended the class because you are not there. So but we don't know the root cause behind that. So this chained cause will give us why that exception happened, or what was the root cause for that exception. Or similar example can be like, so I will get, so for example, I will ask the user to enter the input. So there is a line called c is equal to a by b. This a value, the user has entered the value of a as 10, but but because of some input error, the user is not able to enter the value of b. The user is not able to enter the value of b. So what will happen? because since the because of some issues the user is not able to enter the value of b, the system, after waiting for some time, the system will take the value of b as 0, and it will take the default. Because of some error, it will take the value of b as 0. So because of which I will get here, when I execute this line, I will get arithmetic exception or arithmetic error, like division by 0. But the actual reason for not entering the value of b is input error. Like is not able to enter the value of b, that is IO error. So IO, so this is like the actually why you got that exception is because the user was not able to enter the input. It is IO exception. So the actual error is IO exception, but the one which I got is the arithmetic error. The same way. So here you can replace this arithmetic error with you are not able to attend the classes. But why? The reason why you could not attend the classes is no power or no internet, like that. So if chained exception means, you can remember like this. So. mm so what this chained exception means, so it was a new feature which was added to the Java. So this will allow you to associate one exception with the another exception. So here you can associate IO exception with the arithmetic error exception. So the second exception will describe the cause of first exception. So that is what I told. So I will write a function which will throw an arithmetic exception, because it will try to divide by the 0. But because of some input error, which happened, so the value of the divisor was set improperly. So because of which I got an arithmetic error. So what this but but the actual reason is I got arithmetic error because of IO exception. I got the arithmetic error because of arithmetic exception. So I want to tell, see, actually I did not get arithmetic exception. The actual cause for getting arithmetic exception is I was not able to read the value from the keyboard, which is IO exception, like this. So like this. So what this chained exception will do means, the second exception will describe the cause of first exception. That is the scenario. So all these things you can handle by using chained exception. So here also we have constructors, we have constructor and methods to handle this chained exception. We have constructors called throwable. We have constructor called throwable to handle. We have constructor called throwable, which will contain throwable uh, cause exception. The same thing. Another one, same constructor throwable with two parameter throwable. So first thing will be message. It will be string message, then throwable cause exception. So we have two constructor to handle this kind of scenario. See, cause exception means it is the exception which will cause the current exception. Um, that is the reason. For which an exception occurred. The second method. Here we have one more parameter called message. What it will tell means, it will give us a description. It will just give us a description, which will specify the cause exception. And also we have two more methods. We have two more methods of this throwable class. One is get init. One is get one is the get cause method. One is the get cause method, and the second one is init cause method, which will contain the cause exception. So what this get cause method will do means, it will just return the exception, uh, which will tell us what is the current exception. If there is no exception, the null value will be returned. But the init cause method will associate the cause exception with the invoking exception, and it will return the reference to that exception. Um, so this is regarding the chained exception. So generally chained exception means, it's a feature which will allow one exception to be associated with the another exception. So this this we will study with the programming example. So now we have studied the theory behind it. So if we just look into the programming, we'll just understand those two concepts. So this is the same program, no, simple.java. So the same program itself, I will just start modifying this. So now first thing is how to create our own exception, how to create our own exception subclasses. So what I told, so if I want to create my own exception means I'll write a class. I'll just write a class called A. So for this class called A, I want to create my own exception. So if I want to create my own exception means I'll use the keyword, extends exception. So it is taking some time, so it is not printing. So now it got printed. So now class A became the subclass of exception class. So now this is my this is my exception subclass. This is my exception subclass. So if I don't write this line, means it will be a normal class. It will be a normal class. But I want this to be my exception subclass means I have to extend it by using the keyword called exception so that A will become the exception subclass. So after that, so after that, uh, so excuse me. So after this, one second. See, after this class A can contain, this class A can use the methods of throwable class. Some methods like it can use get init method or get cause method. It can use toString method. It can use print stack trace method. So all these things are available. All these things are available for this class called A. So now for this, those things are not necessary. I'll just write a simple program. So I'll just declare a variable. Called A. I'll just declare a variable called A. So let it not be variable. I'll call it as a variable called A, and I'll create. Let's not use A because we are using the class name also. We'll get confused. I'll call it as a variable called B, and I'll create a constructor. For this class. I'll just create a constructor for this class, and I will name it as. I'll just give some name C. So after this, I'm just assigning the value of C to B. I'm assigning the value of C to B. After this, I'll write. I want to print this. So for printing this, we have a toString method. Uh, this toString method is from toString method is from the throwable class. So throwable class has a toString method. So I am using that. What it will do means it will just this toString method is from the throwable class. So I have to make this class as public string toString method. So once that is done, so I will return I'll return I'll return the message. I'll just return. So this is my exception. This is the message I want to return. This is my exception subclass. This is my exception subclass, and I just want to print the value of B. So I'm just printing the value of B, and I'll just display something. B printed. This is the value of B printed. Okay, some message. That's all. This is just a message which is being printed. So what this class is doing means this class will just print a message. So so whatever value of C I'm passing. So if I pass the value of C as 10, so that 10 will be printed. If I pass the value of C as 20, the 20 will be printed. So here I'm creating an exception. For the class by extending it from the class called exception. So now after this I will create my class. Now class name should be sample. So this is the class where I will use the main method. So that's why I'm calling it as um, sample. So after this, I'll write a function. I'll write a function to calculate the value of C. To calculate the value of C. So I'll call it as some name I will give. So it has to calculate the value of C. So it has to calculate the value of C. So I'll just use the same name itself. So it has to calculate the value of C. So after this, I'll just type the program. I'll just type the program. It is taking some time. It is taking some time. If the value of C is greater than, if the value of C is greater than 25, or if the value of C is greater than 100, let me take it as 100. 100 means the maximum marks is 100. So if the value of marks is greater than 100, it has to throw the exception. If the value of C is greater than 100, so throw an exception. I'm creating the exception, throw new. What is my exception? A. See, here I'm creating. Earlier, you were writing it as throw new null pointer exception, arithmetic exception, like that you used to write. Earlier we used to write like this. This is inbuilt exception. Now I am writing my own exception. Now I am writing my own exception. Throw new exception, and I'm passing the value. So this is how you are able to create your own exception. You are able to create your own exception. So after this, your own exception is created. So after this, I need not print anything. Let me check if any error is there here. So throw new exception, and that exception value is, I just want to throw the value A. So I'm just using that if C is greater than 100. Okay. So if I want to handle this, means for this method should be able to handle that exception. So that's why I'll call it as throws A. Throws A. See, earlier I was writing it as throw null pointer exception, arithmetic exception, but now I am able to create my own exception subclass. So that's why this method will throw an exception. So that method should be handled by using the throws keyword. So after this, everything is normal. Public static void main, public static void main string args. So now here I will check for the exception cases. So I'll write a catch function. Catch function also, see, here also I'm using A. Here also I'm using the class name. Here also I'm using the class name. Then system dot out dot print ln. System dot out dot print ln. I the caught the exception. That exception is there in E. Exception is there in object called E. So so um, here also you are catching your own exception. So let me check why it's unreachable. Okay. So so we have written this public main. Okay. Okay. This function is there. Okay. One more so we have to close this one more parenthesis. The closing of the main function. So now what this program will do means, if I give the value of C greater than 100, I will get an error. If the value of C is greater than 100, I'll get an exception. So you can check that. Now the value of C is greater than 100 means I'll get the exception. So I'll just give the value compute of 25. So when I give compute of 25, when I give the compute of 25, its value is less than 100. So I will not get anything. So I will not get any error. So I will not get any error. I'll run this. See, it is taking some time. 1 second, I'll just check. Okay, this block. An extra parenthesis was there. 1 second, I'll save this so that the error will get. Okay. So let me check if any issue is there with this program. Okay. So fine. Now the program is fine. So if I run this, error could not load or find the main class. Okay. So we have two classes now. When we have two classes, make one class as public. Otherwise, it will not be visible. So that is the reason. So now I think you will not get this error. 1 second, I'll just check. See, sorry, this class name is not sample, it is simple. Given the class name as simple, but here I tried it as sample. So because of which there was an error, because the main function is there in the class called sample. So, but when creating the class, I had given the name as simple.java. So because of which the compiler was not able to find that. So now you will not get any error. So since the value of c is less than 25, so you will not get anything. You will not get anything. So the program is running normally. The program is running normally. The program is running normally. So those things also you can print it out. Those things also you can print it out. So where you can print means here you can write, here you can write that statement. Here also you can write that statement. Like system dot out dot println. So normal exit. So normal exit means it's running normally. So that's all. So I'll save this. I'll run this. So see, the program is running normally. No issues will happen when the value of c is less than 100. The actual issues will start when the value of c is greater than 100. So I'll pass it as 205. So when I give the value of c as 205, it is greater than 100. So when the value of c is greater than 100, I should throw an exception. I should throw an exception by the name a. So what is that exception a means? That is the exception which I have created. It will tell a message that this is my exception class plus the value of c will be printed. The value of c is 205. So if I run this, 1 second, I'll save this. I'll save this and I'll run this. So if I run this, I should get a message. This is my exception subclass plus 205 printed. So this is my exception subclass. See, caught the exception. This is my exception subclass 205 printed. So all these things can be, if it doesn't look nice, means you can just give the spacing. Just so this is the exception that is being caught. So that means you are able to write your own exception. So caught the exception. What is my exception? This is my exception subclass 205 printed. So in this way, you can create an exception subclasses. You can create an exception subclasses. So this is how you can create an exception subclass in Java. So this and now I will just write the next thing. So this is regarding the exception subclasses. Now, how do I create that chained exception? So chained exception, how do I create chained exception? So for that, I'll just write the code. So I'll write static void some process, static void some process, or so you can call it as procedure. So I'll just write some method. So what this method will do means, so this is the demonstration. This is the demonstration of chained exception, how the chained exception will work. So I'll create one I'll create one exception, null pointer exception, NUL null pointer exception. So I'll create a null pointer exception. Null pointer exception. I'll call it as E is equal to new null pointer exception. New null pointer exception. So this I will give some message. So this will I'll give it as some message. The first I'll give it some message as the first. Um, then for this I will add a cause. For this exception I will add a cause e dot init cause. See, if I type init, it is only giving me the suggestion init cause. So what is the cause? What is the cause? The cause is the new arithmetic exception. The new arithmetic exception. New arithmetic exception. So that is my cause. That is my cause. New arithmetic exception. So okay. So after that, I'll throw the exception. After that, I'll throw the exception. How do I throw that? THROW E. I'll throw the exception. All these things are not necessary. Okay, so this is sufficient. So this is sufficient to um, implement that. Somewhere it is showing the error. You just need to check. Okay, once the program is written, this will can check for this because the brackets we have closed properly. For the method also we have closed. For the class also we have closed. So once the program is written completely, we will see that issue unexpected bracket. Okay, init cause new arithmetic exception. This is also clear. So I think we don't have any issues. We'll just check that once I complete the program, we won't get this error also. Class simple. So here this is not necessary. Directly we can go to the main function. Inside the try, I will call the function. The function name is given by process. The function name is process, and we are not passing any parameter. The function name is process, and we are not passing any parameter. Process. Okay. Then I have to catch an exception. Try after that I have to catch exception. So what is exception? Here the exception is null pointer exception. So null pointer exception. Null pointer exception. Then I got the exception E. So that is done. So that is uh, done. So in addition to this, you can also write one more message. You can also write one more message. Also write one more message. System.out.println. What is the original cause? What is the original cause for that exception? So original cause for exception. Original cause for exception. So there you can use e dot get e dot. See, you can see the functions that are available. E dot get cause function. So after this, I'll close the brackets. Okay, fine. So static process. Okay. So so this is the way. Um, okay, it is done. See what this program is doing means here we are trying to demonstrate um, the chained exception. So in order to demonstrate this chained exception, so what we did is, say, even I'll simplify this also. I'll write everything in one class itself. No need of this also. So all these things can be written in one class itself. No need to write it. Um, separately. So one function I've closed, I've created a class. Okay, so I've created a class called simple. I've created a class called simple. So one function I've written the static void thing. Okay, and this throw, it should come inside the function. It should come inside the function. It should come inside the function. So okay, main function is there, and let me check the main functions are closed properly. Okay, the main function is also closed properly. Fine. Now you'll not get any error. Hmm. So what this function, what this program is doing means, I told you an example, right? Actually, you'll be getting an arithmetic exception. But the reason for getting the arithmetic exception is you are not able to give the input from the keyboard. The same program have written here. So we have created a function. We have created a function called process. So that process is throwing, that process will give me the null pointer exception where I've given the message as first, and also what is the initial cause, and also I've created a for that I'm adding what is the initial cause for that. So here here the first exception, here the first exception is the null pointer exception, so that's why I've given the message as first. Here the first exception is the null pointer exception. um, so for this we are adding, for this we are adding a cause, for this we are adding a cause exception. So what is the cause for that? So what is the cause for that? We are adding the arithmetic exception, the arithmetic exception as the cause for this. So when an exception is thrown, when an exception is thrown from this process, when the exception is thrown from this process, it will be it will be handled from the main function. So first it will display this exception. First it will display the null pointer exception, followed by the arithmetic exception, which is the actual cause. How it is obtained means, what is the exception you are getting? You are getting the null pointer exception. So what is the cause for that? So the cause for that is obtained by using get cause function. So this is how the chained exception works. So what is your original what is your exception that you are catching, and what is the actual cause for that? So if I run this program, you can see you'll get two messages. You'll get two messages. uh, what exception you have caught? You have caught an exception called java.lang.null pointer exception. So what is the original cause for that exception? The original cause for that exception is arithmetic exception. So this is how you can get you can associate one exception with the another exception. You're the exception which you caught is the null pointer exception. But what is the actual cause for that exception? The actual cause for that exception is arithmetic exception. So this will not be used in every program. So based on the situation only, or based on the requirements, these kind of exceptions will be used. So this is regarding the chained exception. So in this class, what we have learned till now. So in this class, what we have learned till now, the first thing is um, the built-in exceptions. The built-in exceptions in Java, checked exception, unchecked exceptions. Then the methods, that subclasses that will come under unchecked exceptions, the subclasses that are coming under checked exception. How do you create your own subclass exception? By using this extends exception keyword. So after that, chained exception. Chained exception means you're linking one exception with the another exception. So all these things are been studied. So why we are using this exception handling means, see, this is a this exception handling, it's a powerful mechanism. See, this exception handling is a powerful mechanism for maintaining the complex program, or for controlling the complex program which have the dynamic runtime characteristics. So all these things will be run, all the calculations will take place during the runtime itself. So at that time, these exception handling are necessary, like try, catch, and throw block are necessary to handle any unwanted errors or unexpected errors for our programming language. So what happens means, the Java will use an exception. Why? Because when something fails, it should fail safely. So the program should not stop abruptly. So that is why the Java will use exception. So when something unwanted happens, it will throw the exception. So in this way, you can handle that exception properly in a normal way, or like that. So for that, we are using the exceptions or exception handling in Java. So this is regarding the exception handling. Any doubts? Any doubts regarding this exception handling? Any doubts? So any doubts regarding this exception handling?
No, sir.